Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to you, Mr. Wallace, for being here today. First of all, I want to help paint a picture a little bit here. How critical is the Kissimmee River watershed to the Floridian aquifer and our water supply?
Thank you, Congressman. I don't think we can overstate the criticality of the Floridan aquifer and its relationship to Kissimmee River. Our geology and our limestone base simply means that having surface water through our normal restoration channels is critical for the protection and security of most of Central Florida's drinking water with the Floridian aquifer.
Absolutely. And with the fastest growing district in the nation, we certainly could use not only sufficient water, but also to be able to protect our still pristine and now restored lands. Give us an idea of the kind of recreation and tourism effects of the Kissimmee River and the Kissimmee River watershed that the Nature Conservancy has a main conservation piece of.
Thank you, Congressman. I think first of all, from a habitat standpoint, Florida has enjoyed a very solid understanding that our native and threatened and endangered species all need paths to go up and down our migration chain. And the restoration of the Kissimmee River has been an invaluable tool down the spine of the center of the state of Florida for providing that migratory pattern for everything that we are working to preserve and protect. And on our Disney Wilderness Preserve, we have helped maintain and grow the habitat for the threatened and endangered scrub jay, as you mentioned in your opening comment. Keeping this land in its natural setting and getting it back to a more natural setting and provide all of that habitat. And in terms of recreation, sir, it is boundless, as you well know from your kayak trip on the Kissimmee. As a person myself who has spent a great deal of time on the Kissimmee, the bird watching, the fishing, and also, if I may say, Congressman, the compatibility with agriculture in many cases out here has been a very valuable tool, along with the other kind of offshoot thing that we don't always get to talk about, but we do have a very large military installation on the banks of the Kissimmee River, and allowing the Kissimmee River restoration to maintain and grow has allowed buffering for the Avon Park bombing range to continue to allow for a very successful training program at that military installation near the Kissimmee.
And I'm glad you mentioned Avon Park Air Force Base. I got the opportunity to go down there, speak with the head colonel in charge. And in addition to being a bombing range, its 100,000 acres are tasked by the federal government to help with endangered species. At first, it seems incompatible until you realize it's just a small area that's a bombing range. And the many other, literally tens of thousands of acres, are really pristine. So I'm proud that our Air Force does support this and is consistent with the mission there. And then the local ranchers, we know for years our local ranchers have been some of the best conservationists, owning large swaths of land with a low intensive type of agriculture, cattle grazing on grass. How important is it for local water supply for ranchers, and how compatible is ranching with the area around the Kissimmee River?
Well, Congressman, if I may say, just last week, the Nature Conservancy announced another partnership with the Ravenswood Ranch in your district, helping use REPI funds from the Department of Defense, because we feel so strongly that having a low intensive ag operation is so compatible with the natural environment. And quite frankly, sir, having pasture grazing operations done on this property is perhaps one of the most beneficial to our surface water recharge areas, which are so critical for that part of the world. And so I hope you'll always find us, showing how compatible ag and conservation can be with protection.
I'm glad you helped me paint that picture. Members, this area is flanked by both conservation lands and major ranching operations. Our ranchers have helped with conserving this. In fact, the Nature Conservancy's land, which I've hiked on dozens of times, as well as the rivers over there, gotten to kayak on, are part of our big champions on this. So what we're really trying to prevent is giant condos and urban sprawl going miles south of the urban corridor. But conservation, recreation, agriculture, definitely here to stay, and I yield back.
I think the gentleman chair now recognizes Mr. Moore for 5